everyone, and welcome back to Mining Network. So I'm joined with Marco Roque, who is CEO and president of Cassiar Gold. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Emma.
Pleasure. So let's start off by getting a nice company overview.
Absolutely. So Cassiar Gold, we are a Canadian gold explorer, and we are focused on our flagship asset by the same name. What really sets us apart as a company is because we're a past-producing project. It comes with a wealth of infrastructure. We have mining permits already in place. We have Highway 37 bisecting our property with dozens of kilometers of paved roads, 160 kilometers of property access roads, a fully owned and permitted mill, 25 kilometers of underground development, power and water access, a permanent camp. But that's only really as valuable as the resource size and resource potential, and we have a lot of that. We have a foundational resource, an open pitable pit-constrained resource of 1.4 million ounces inferred at 1.14 grams per ton gold right at surface, and effectively open in most directions laterally and at depth. We also have these high-grade veins in the Cassiar South area. Most of them are open along strike. We've been drilling both these areas very, very successfully and extending mineralization. And we have a multitude of other targets in our 100% owned 59,000 hectare land package on our Cassiar Gold flagship project. To go along with all this infrastructure and all this exploration potential, we have a great team, and more importantly, we have the social license to operate. And yes, we're still very attractively valued as we speak. Our market cap is roughly 50 million Canadian, which for what we have, I think it's very, very attractive.
Yeah, no, brilliant. And so you've touched on it a little bit there, but could you go into a bit more detail about the capital structure of Cassiar?
Absolutely. So, right now we actually just launched a financing, but, pre-financing, we have roughly 82 million shares outstanding, which is, just under, at 50 cents, that's really 41 million Canadian market cap. We have roughly 11 million warrants, just over 11 million warrants on issue. The lowest price warrant is at 67.5 cents. The highest price warrant is at $1.05, and they're roughly 50% on those two strike prices. We have our share registry. We have just under 10% of insider ownership, which is really not bad and growing. There's a lot of several board members and insiders committed to this financing as well. And we also have been growing our institutional shareholder base. A few years ago we had 0%. Basically, and now we've been growing to almost a quarter of our share registry. We have names like Sprott Asset Management, Presscat, US Global, Mernican. In Europe, we have Ixios, Commodity Discovery Fund. We also have EMA, that's Larry Lepard, Terra Capital, MCM, EMC, Bilingual, just to name a few. And we'll have a lot more actually with this financing. 77% of the book on our bought deal was institutional shareholders, so we'll keep on growing that institutional shareholder base.
Definitely. And so what's the history here? Because there's quite extensive history to your properties, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's how far back do you want me to go? So actually, this is actually so we control the entire gold district, 59,000 hectares. It's the Cassiar Gold District. Not a lot of companies can claim that we are truly a district scale property. And we control that district. The history here in terms of gold exploration started in I believe 1877, when a 72-ounce solid gold nugget was found, and obviously that just started a massive gold rush into the area. Fast forward to the 80s, there were actually several producing underground mines. And that's where actually most of the historical production has come from. This project, just from those underground veins, produced over 315,000 ounces. From different mines have different grades, but all between 10 and just over 20 grams per ton. Very, very high grade. And most of these vein systems are open along strike. And that's actually where we have those 25 kilometers of underground workings that takes us, straight into those high grade veins and mineralized areas that haven't been mined yet. And that's actually also the reason we have mining permits and a fully owned and permitted mill on site. So I guess, fast forward to kind of the late 2000s, back in the day, where most of the historical production has come from, there were multiple producers, multiple exploration companies across the district, and a group called Hawthorne. They consolidated the entire district, and basically that's why we now we have the benefit of controlling an entire gold district under one single ownership. We get to benefit from all that historical work, and basically, building upon and growing, on the shoulders of all the old timers that did so much work here since basically 1877.
Yeah, no, it's amazing that you've got so much history there. So you mentioned 59,000 hectares, an inferred resource of 1.4 million as well, and you've just completed over 23,000 meters drill program. So talk me through the drilling a little bit. Was that mainly infill drilling or extension?
Yeah, absolutely. So last year, that resource is from I believe May 2022. So that is that inferred resource. And that resource is, as we were mentioning multiple times, wide open laterally for expansion, as well as the depth in laterally in multiple directions and at depth as well. Most of the drilling we've done last year was expansionary. A good chunk of it was in and around Taurus. The Taurus is where we have all of our 1.4 million ounce resource, and we did roughly, I believe it was 44 drill holes at Taurus, 14,000 meters of the 23,000 meter drill program. So that's most of the drilling was expansionary, so step outs, very significant step outs. The current deposit footprint is 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer, and we've extended mineralization over 700 meters to the east. We around the old Taurus East mine. We also extended mineralization to the southeast around Wings Canyon, where we had some historical drilling. We did significant step outs to the south and to the southwest, also to the north. We extended mineralization at depth, but also we've did quite a bit of drilling within the pit shell, and people think, well, that's infill drilling, but not necessarily, because we were drilling in areas that are widely spaced and areas that basically didn't have a resource block, and we've intercepted mineralization in most of those drill holes. And actually in the program, we intercepted mineralization in all but one drill hole out of 70 drill holes, and with significant grades. And basically, that drilling is also expansionary within the pit shell. So it's quite exciting to drill program on that part of the project. We also did a little bit of drilling, 7,600 meters of drilling at the Cassiar South high-grade veins, where extending the known veins very successfully. Again, every single drill hole intercepted anomalous to high-grade mineralization there. We also potentially found a new offset and potentially found a new parallel vein at the vein target. So quite exciting. It was very successful all around, and can't wait to get back to camp and follow up and pick on the excellent work that the team did last year.
Yeah, no, congratulations on those results, and also congratulations on the upsizing of your bought deal financing to 9.5 million. So talk me through the allocation of those funds. Like, how do you plan on using them throughout the year?
Yeah, so we just we launched a $7 million bought deal Monday morning, and we upsized it to 9.5 million. As I mentioned just before, 77% of the book is institutional investors, which is great to see. And now we're basically looking to drill 20 to 25,000 meters again, and continue to expand on the excellent work that we've done last year. So the allocation, tentatively, we still don't have the final allocations. I think one big takeaway from the drill program last year is that we didn't miss enough. Only one drill hole missed mineralization out of 70. So I think we need to get bolder. I think we need to be more aggressive. And we'll be having a few technical meetings over the next few weeks. But we'll be opening camp in mid-May. And we'll start drilling on the first week of June. But the tentative allocations as of now, and these might change over the next few weeks, are roughly 50% of the drilling towards continuing to step out at Taurus and see if we can find the edges of the system, which hopefully we won't, which means the system is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then we're looking to allocate 25% of the drilling towards those high-grade veins at Cassiar South, continue to extend the known veins, and hopefully try to see if we can tag some new blind, parallel, or stacked vein systems. And the other 25% of the drilling is going towards some outside regional targets. We have some really exciting targets. A few examples are Wings Canyon. We have some beautiful quartz veins right at surface. There's some historical drilling there, over 100 meters, over 0.5 grams per ton. And we did quite a bit of drilling there last year, very successfully as well. That's a really nice target, 600 meters to the southeast of Taurus. So the mineralized areas between Wings Canyon and Taurus are getting shorter and shorter. So maybe, who knows, it will connect. That's obviously what I hope to see. We also have another target, which is Lucky. Lucky is 4 kilometers to the northwest of Taurus, and some very anomalous, very high-grade grab and chip samples. We collected that in 2019, over 300 grams per ton gold, over 150 grams per ton gold. And the other target that we also have is Snow Creek. We also have very similar sound mineralization as Taurus, little to no drilling there. And it's a long strike from Taurus, is 3 kilometers to the northeast of Taurus. It looks like Taurus, it smells like Taurus, it's a long strike from Taurus. And the team believes it's quite possible that Taurus and Snow Creek is connected. And if that's the case, if you think about the number of ounces that you can fit within that Taurus footprint, and you extend by 3 kilometers, it doesn't. You don't need to be a mathematician to imagine the potential here. So it's a very exciting targets, and we have a few other more, but these are the ones that we're looking to drill. We're also going to be doing some IP, some mapping, some sampling. So a lot of work ahead of us, and I think it's going to be a very exciting drill campaign with lots of good news that will come on the back of it.
Yeah, no, it's so exciting when it's open from basically every direction. It's this next year is going to be awesome to follow along for. So obviously you're exploring in British Columbia, and a lot of the time this can come with its own challenges in terms of infrastructure and access. What is the situation like for you guys?
Well, the situation couldn't be better, to be honest. So when people think, when I say to people, our project is located in northern BC, people think, wow, that's probably in the middle of nowhere. Do you take a helicopter to get there? That's definitely not the case with us. We're very, very lucky. Our project is bisected by Highway 37. So in terms of access, it doesn't get better. In fact, you can drive from Vancouver all the way to the top of the 1.4 million ounce deposit without ever leaving a paved road. In addition to that, we have access to power from BC Hydro. We have access we have water access, obviously. We have a fully owned and permitted mill. We have mining permits. We have 160 kilometers of property access roads. So, there's not much missing, really. We just need to find more gold, and the more gold we find, we're just going to have to think about the much bigger mill. How big? We don't know, because you can fit a lot of ounces in 59,000 hectares. So we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. So what is the capacity of the mill that you currently have?
So the capacity of our mill is 300 tons per day. It's fully owned and permitted. So there's a lot of value on the fact that it's permitted, and also a lot of value on the fact that it's fully owned. But that mill on its current size, it's basically only valuable for the high grade. We're already at 1.4 million ounces on the bulk-tonnage deposit. That's a 1.14 grams per ton. So that mill is already too small for that kind of material. But the old timers on the underground veins, they're producing 10 to 20 grams per ton. So that could give us an interesting strategic optionality with more success at Cassiar South on the high grade veins. You can really, with the mine permits, with the underground development already sunk in, and remember, the underground development that is already sunk in takes us straight into these high-grade mineralized and unmined veins. You can really start emerging a real potential for a low capex, high-grade, high-margin potential development. So We'll continue to do work there, but it's a very, very valuable piece of the infrastructure and piece of the puzzle to have. And you really couldn't be better than that. The only thing better will be 100,000 ton per day mill waiting for millions of ounces to be found. But we'll have to see. You have to wait for that, I guess, and discover more ounces first.
Yeah, it's definitely not a bad starting point to have access to all of that. And also you have a social responsibility in the area, don't you, with the First Nations? So could you talk us through your relationship with those and other stakeholders?
Absolutely. So we have, we're basically on a traditional territory of the Dease River First Nation, part of the wider Cascadian First Nation. We have developed an excellent relationship there. They've been great with us, and we try to reciprocate, really, building a real partnership. For example, our core shack last year was mostly comprised of First Nation members. So we provide training opportunities, we provide employment opportunities as well. It really feels like a family when I go to site and all the community events and meetings. It's really great to see that. Which also try to hire as many local contractors as possible to support the local economy. And then we also do water monitoring, wildlife monitoring, to make sure that we have a responsible use of the environment, and also try to adjust our operations to not conflict with culturally important activities like hunting, which is very important for our First Nation partners. And there's always ways to go around and make sure that we can all work together, and it's just a matter of managing our schedules, and I'm really happy with the relationship that we have there.
So talk me through your team and yourself. What gives you guys the expertise to succeed in a place like BC and this sort of exploration?
Absolutely. Well, I can maybe start talking a little bit about myself. I'm actually Portuguese, born and raised. I started my career in private banking. Then I actually moved over to Barclays and did capital markets there for roughly 6 years. Then I did my MBA between London Business School and Hong Kong USD, and then I spent 8 years investing and advising in a precious metal space, from juniors to mid-tiers to majors. Now the rest of the team, we also have Steve Ladwin on our board. He's the former president and CEO of IAMGOLD, a mid-tier producer. He's our chairman, so very, very relevant and critical experience there with producing companies all over the world and producing mines all over the world. In terms of BC specific experience, we have another Steve on our board, Steve Robertson. He's a geologist. He started his career drilling at Red Chris. So the Red Chris mine is just 200 kilometers south of our project along Highway 37. It's the most significant mine development in BC. And Steve Robertson received in 2016 the Schultz Award for Excellence in Mine Development because he was in charge of development and permitting there. So obviously very, very relevant experience. We also have a mining engineer on our board. We have Chris Stewart. He's the CEO of Minto Metals, which is a copper producer in the Yukon. Very experienced mining executive as well. We also have James Maxwell on our board. James is a former exploration director for Sabina. Sabina just completed a takeover bid from B2 Gold, 1.2 billion. So actually, some of our geos are also Sabina alumni. So our younger geos. So it's they know what success looks like. B2 is also where Vern Sheen comes from. So obviously very relevant experience. And then we also have the great Doug Kerwin as our technical advisor. He did the due diligence for us before I joined as CEO. He had basically was very excited about this project. We compared it to Fosterville. He's very excited about the high grade vein potential specifically. He told me that twice this week. And also Doug brought in David Rees. David Rees is effectively our chief technical advisor. He spends most of his time with producing companies. and is arguably the most sought after structural and economic geologist in orogenic gold systems, which is the type of systems that we have. So, I think we have really a stellar team, a very young, energetic team on the ground as well. We have the right combination, and it's great to have a great asset with lots of potential, with lots of infrastructure, but to really unlock the value, I think we need a great team, and I'm very, very lucky to not only be leading an amazing project, but also be surrounded and supported by, truly a world-class team.
Brilliant. And so just a nice way to kind of sum up, what can investors be looking out for from you guys over the next 12 months? What does that timeline look like?
So basically, as I mentioned in the beginning, we'll be opening camp in May, and we'll start drilling on the first week of June. We'll have 3 drill rigs on site, returning drill contractor there, well, if the labs keep their promises, we should be able to get results starting in probably mid to late August. Last year we started in September. We'll probably need to manage expectations a little bit and maybe tell people maybe to expect results only in September. But if labs keep their promises, we'll probably could expect probably by late August, and we'll probably be releasing drill results until late December, maybe early January, ideally. But again, I'm going to have to basically keep on pushing on the labs to make sure they comply with their promised timelines. But again, 20 to 25,000 meters of drilling, lots of news flow that will be coming out of that. It's going to be an even more aggressive drill campaign. Going to continue to step out. And hopefully we can keep on hitting with the same rate we've been hitting last year. So we'll also be going to be doing some IP as well, mapping, sampling. So lots of news to look out for. And potentially in Q1 we also might be looking at the resource update. So in Q1 of 2024. So it's going to be busy.
Definitely sounds busy, but very exciting. And I can't wait to follow along and see what's happening. So thank you so much for your time today, Marco.
Thanks, Emma. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure.